So, Election Day is coming up this Tuesday, and thank God for that, because I'm sure that everyone is tired of getting, texts from their good buddies, politicians asking for money, emails asking for money, etc. Now, one important question, of course, is who should you vote for? And since I believe in democracy, I'm not going to say like you should vote for this person or vote for that person. I mean, obviously, opinions on it. Um, but it's up to you to decide. Now, one of the things that's been coming up in this election, of course, is the idea that Trump is doing very well with young men, Kamala Harris is doing very well with women, and the reasons for this, are pretty obvious to anyone who's followed, the news for a while. And this leads to a question of, if you're a man, can you remain a man and vote for Kamala Harris? And from a philosophical standpoint, the answer is obviously, yeah, that, doing that won't change anything about your manliness or lack thereof. Similarly, voting for Trump, will that make you more of a man or, more manly? Well, no, that again will have no effect on that. So as we've seen, Vice President Harris has been, or at least the people working for it have been putting out the various ads. One interesting one is, of course, that they're appealing to women saying, hey, your husband or boyfriend doesn't know who you're voting for, so you can vote for who you want to, which says a lot about America voting and the understanding of whoever put that ad together of how America often works. But getting back to the main point. So as a man, can you vote for VP Harris for president? And get the answer is yeah, but in terms of sort of dealing with this psychologically, because Trump supporters, his pundits on the various news stations have put forth the idea that it's unmanly to vote for a woman for office. And the idea is essentially to try to shame, us men into voting for Trump, because if we don't vote for the manly Trump, then we'll be less than men. And one easy way to get into the hearts of men is to try to shame them, to try to say you're not going to be a proper man, or you won't be a proper man unless you do this. And this gets us to do all kinds of, stupid things. There've been many things, of course, in my own life I've done where it's a question of like manly pride, which can sometimes lead to doing things that are dangerous and leave lasting but cool scars from those decisions. So suppose you're struggling with that. You're thinking to yourself, I'm a manly man and I do manly man things, so how could I possibly vote for a woman for vice president? Which is an excellent question. So again, I'm not going to tell you how to vote. If you want to vote against Vice President Harris based on policy, suppose you've looked and you think that tariffs would be really good for the United States, even though, of course, we'll have to pay more for stuff. You think this would be good. And if you think that, mass deportations are good, and you find the policies from like Project 2025 appealing, then from the standpoint of, democracy, you should vote based on what you think is good and right. But if we come down to the question of, the feel, suppose you kind of do want to vote for President Harris because you agree, Vice President Harris, because you might agree with, her policies, etc., or really dislike Trump. Can you reconcile that with your manliness? And here's a thing you can do to help with this. Again, not telling you how to vote or who to vote for, but if you want to vote for Vice President Harris for president and you're struggling with the feelings, think of a woman in your life that you respect, that you think is a person who's like tough and smart and strong, makes good decisions, good leadership skills. This might be your mother. Most people like their mothers and respect them. It could be your wife. If you're married, hopefully you respect your wife. You think that she's, a good person. You think she's capable and competent. You don't think that she is low IQ or useless or terrible. Or it could be your sister. If you probably love your sister and like her, have some respect for her, think that she's, a good person. Or if you have children, it could be your daughter. If you would think of your daughter, you presumably don't think about your daughter as being like terrible and low IQ and trash and garbage, etc. You probably think, well of the woman in your life. So if you're thinking about, voting based on the feels, manliness versus non-manliness, think of the woman in your life that you respect, that you love, that you care for, and that can help with that feeling. Think of, Vice President Harris, not as, like low IQ and terrible, etc. Think of her as a person. And if you think that she would make a good president, but you're having trouble with the feels, think of the woman you love and respect, and loving and respecting, women. That's an important part of being a man, to recognize in others their competence, their goodness, their toughness, their capacity, respecting that, and to not just give in to, the idea that you have to be manly and vote manly ways. So that's, I guess, kind of my, the appeal. And once again, if it's a matter of policy and you say to yourself, honestly, I would vote for a woman president, but I just can't get behind, VP Harris's policies, or you dislike her specific character, then that's a rational choice. That's reasonable. That's not being swayed by this appeal to, manliness. And that's fine. That's how you should vote. But if it's a question of, I feel that I can't, vote for somebody because it's not manly, that doesn't seem like a good voting approach. But anyways, thank God the voting season, the election season will be over. We'll probably get like 2 days. Oh, then we'll go into the legal battles over the election that are inevitable. So look forward to that suffering. And then, of course, the campaigning will presumably start, a couple days later for the next cycle. But anyways, stay safe, vote, your conscience, vote based on your beliefs, and stay safe. And I'll see you in the future.